Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome to another episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and this time for yet another show this week. How nice am I to you, really? We're going to go a little bit adult. All right, so there's your warning. If this isn't for you, switch to one of our other pods. Otherwise, if you want to hang around and talk adult stuff, pull up a pew and let's bring on the guest. We are talking to Foxxy Vacations Hot Spring creator, Mr. Isaac Fox.
Hello.
Hello. I like how he went all British there. Oh, hello, sir.
Oh, no.
Isaac, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Cool. So let's start at the top. We're going to get into the book a little bit. Foxxy Vacations Hot Springs. What's the deal? What's this about?
It's kind of a weird one for me, honestly, because I credit myself as a comic writer, even though that's like 5% of my actual job these days.
Okay.
What Foxxy Vacations really is it's a naughty pinup book featuring characters from across the universes of books I've done, including our mascot characters. Basically, last year we had an incredible year on Kickstarter. I went from making $4 or $5 grand a run to making 20 and 30 a run. And we wanted to give back to our backers as a thank you for all that support.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of snuck in little questions here and there into the surveys. Like, what do you guys want to see more? What do you guys enjoy? And looked at the numbers of what people were picking up. Like, well, let's do a book that's like that. Let's do a book that's a bunch of pinups with all the artists that we've met over the years we've worked with. And the secret agenda behind this book is I needed something to buy me time. The problem I've run into now is that we have so many projects in production that I don't have time to actually write comics. It's just, I guess that's the stupidest thing in the world, but now I don't have time to write them. I'm like, well, let's put out a book that requires very little work from me on writing, because there's only 4 comic pages and they're non-canonical silliness. That'll give me time to work on the actual meaty stories in the background while we're doing this. Since it takes me, I'm not as fast as some people. I think it takes maybe about a month to do a 22-page script. I know other artists can do that. Other writers can do that in like 2 days. I don't know how they do that, but
it's quality over quantity. That's the line you should use, definitely.
I certainly hope so. But the book is as it sounds. It's got 4 comic book pages. If you're familiar with the other books that I've done, Cremisi, Suck You Busted, and Pure Intent, you'll especially enjoy seeing characters from across those universes interact. If you haven't read those books, well, that's not a problem either. You can still hop in and enjoy the artwork. There are most of the book are full-page pinups. Some of them are 2-page spreads. Naughty and nice. We do have pinups of both male and female characters.
Cool.
Full disclosure, though, the male characters are covered on the crotch region, whereas the female characters are usually not.
Okay.
We don't shy away from that. But being said, the book is not pornographic. There's no penetration. This is not a hentai. It is just tasteful pinups that you would see in an art museum or anywhere that's, let's call it classy.
All right. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Good shout. I've had a chance to look through some of the pinups, and we're going to show a few in a little bit. One of the things that kind of struck me was it's not too dissimilar in intent of the classic Marvel swimsuit issue. If you remember all those decades ago, it feels like, is that the kind of the vibe you were going for, having these characters in sort of like a more relaxed state, shall we say?
Oh, thank you. I did take a lot of inspiration from. I'm a big fan of Udon Entertainment's books, the Street Fighter and Darkstalker series. They put out their pinup books like once, twice a year.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. Yeah,
yeah. So I was like, people like that, they'll like this easily.
Yeah, I mean, Zenoscope's renowned for having their pinup books, the Halloween specials and the whatnots and so on. Cool, excellent. I tell you what, let's have a look at one of the pictures and see what we're talking about there.
Thank you.
Boom! There you go.
Yay.
Who's this fetching squirrel girl-like creature?
That is Brooke Astral. She actually, she is the mascot of my company. My company is Astral Ticket Corporation. Okay. She's our mascot. When we created her, I needed to create a character because our work is very heavily inspired by Japanese work. With a lot of, I still have the influence of American because, well, I'm American. I was like,
Okay.
well, I want a character who embodies the fusion of these two ideologies. And it's a common trope in anime and manga to put female characters with animal ears and tails.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, okay, we do that. But what's the most American animal ever? A raccoon. I'm from the South. Raccoons, definitely.
Okay.
So we made a raccoon girl. And every artist I've ever given her to always draws her as a tanuki. Because nobody outside of the United States has ever heard of what the hell a raccoon is. What is that animal? No, that's a tanuki. That's the Japanese thing you see in their media all the time. No, this is our thing. The thing that digs into your trash can at night. That's what we have.
Yeah. She needs like little stripes on her face or something.
That was the purpose of her glasses. Was to cover
okay.
that.
Cool. All right. Excellent.
That cover was done by Lyrics. She is incredible. She's an amazing person, an amazing artist. I'm so happy every time I get to work with her. And there are a bunch of variations of that one that I am keeping up my sleeve for later, including topless that are not on this campaign. You will see them later this year.
There we go. Excellent. Okay, so let me ask you a question then, because I mean, for a lot of people in the comic book industry, there is a lot of pressure for how female characters are portrayed. Is that something that kind of breaks into your creative streak when you're kind of working on books like this, or do you kind of think, you know what, if you like it, buy it, if you don't like it, don't? Is that a big question?
It's a tricky. It's not really. It's not so much that it's tricky. It's that we like to believe that everybody has their own taste. Sure, like I've heard before that sometimes our characters can be a little thin, especially in my Cremisi series, the first one I did.
Okay.
And in that case, that book, the main character is supposed to be kind of sick. It's supposed to be thin, but
okay.
As far as those characters go, we do have characters that vary from that. In the same campaign, you will see images in there in the comic book pages and covers of Benny, who is a bunny girl, and she's pretty thick, and I mean that in every possible way. So we don't really particularly lean one way or the other. We try to be fair to everybody's taste. The phrase I always like to use is we believe in equal opportunity fan service. If your thing is girls who are really tiny, I can have some of that. You like girls that are kind of thick all over, we got that. If you like guys who are really ripped, we got that. It's whatever makes you happy. I like to believe that I'm in the business of making people happy. And if what I can produce out of our studio makes one person's day better and helps them deal with the realities of life, then I've done my job.
Cool. That is such a great answer. That is, I am absolutely, what a fantastic answer that is. With the tone and the kind of imagery that we're showing, I will say right now, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. What I will say is this one of the reasons why you use Kickstarter more than an established publisher, perhaps? Because as a Kickstarter, you're in control of content, the idea and the vibe of the book. You don't have to kowtow to editorial. I'm really firing all cylinders.
The dream is to always get a big publisher to pick you up, right? Everybody wants that big publisher deal on that Netflix special. Everybody always wants that. That's always the dream you're going to be chasing. My thing is, I know to go to an actual publisher, you need to have a book that's done. B, you probably got to know somebody. That helps out a lot. But you want a book that's complete and falls into line with what is going into the market right now. The reality of it is, I don't have a book that meets those standards 100% yet. I intend to. Suck You Busted, which I have covered from Dan Mendoza here. That was by now at present, that's my biggest book ever, but we'll see what happens with that.
All right.
This one might pass it. That series is one I would pitch to them. But for the most part, though, Kickstarter is where I decided to go. I actually received advice from a professional gentleman. I don't know if he'd like me saying his name or not. He's been on your show before, I think. And
has he?
Ooh. He's one of the biggest Kickstarter creators. All I can say for comics. And I got advice from him one time, and he said, everything you do, just go to Kickstarter. Don't waste your time on publishers.
Yeah.
I know from a writing background what publishers treat you like, especially if you're new, and it's not usually. I don't know if comic books are different than books and stuff, but they're not normally nice to you at first until you prove that you can make them money, basically.
Okay, excellent. So, do you feel? How can I put this one then? There's the old adage that sex sells, right? But so over the past year, so far, over the past couple of years, we've had things like Stefan Sejic's Sunstone. We've had Mirko Andolfo's various series, which has been titillation, shall we say? Yeah. Do you find that that for all the negativity the comics can get over how certain characters are portrayed, do you find that it's starting to come a little bit full circle where, you know what, there is an audience, there's enough rack space for, pardon the pun, I say, there's enough rack space for fun books like Foxxy Vacations, as well as the more stereotypical superhero stuff that everybody seems to like as well.
Oh, there's very much a market for it. The argument that I always make is that even my books, with the exception of Foxxy Vacations, which is a pinup book, we're honest about that.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Even
yeah.
my books, like I showed off Suck You Busted here, this is an ecchi comedy with about sexy demon girls in the city of Jacksonville.
Mhm.
Any book that I do that's an actual storybook has to have some kind of meat to the writing. There has to be a lesson. There has to be something in there that's actually good. For Suck You Busted, it kind of tackles the ideology of how we call ourselves a free society in America, but we're still judgmental on how people choose to love. In
Yeah.
the case of that book, we use the analogy of humans and demons, but you can interpret that to same-sex couples, mixed-race couples, whatever.
Yeah. It's a metaphor.
And that's a book that's about boobs and silliness, and I still put that lesson in there. My main series, Cremisi, is about alcoholism and PTSD and struggling with those kinds of things.
Okay.
Pure Intent deals with similar ideologies.
Okay.
I think that if you want to do really well, you can have the sexy stuff. Sure, the sexy stuff is kind of like the hook, but it's not. It's just the hook. It's not the barb. It's not going to keep anybody there. They're going to go, oh, look, I like this. Let's check it out. You have to have some actual meat behind that, and that's what I've tried to do. And I woke up yesterday, and I was incredibly delighted that we have a fan Discord server. People that were talking about how much they enjoyed the writing in the books that I've done, versus more, as you said, tittillating books they've picked up through Kickstarter. I'm not trying to single anybody out by any measure. Just so happy to see that. I was like, that's great. I'm glad I'm doing my job as a writer. So there's definitely both markets, like you're saying. Those sides exist. I don't think sex is the single unifying selling point. It can be a little help. It helps a little bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah. My
audience too.
My wife, for my birthday last year, she bought me the hardcover of Sunstone Volume 1, and
he's such a genius.
And she was like, so you've been banging on about this book for ages. There you go, happy birthday. I was like, hey. She goes, what's it about? I was like, oh, it's about lesbian bondage. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, but they really love each other. They just don't know that they love each other.
It's actually a beautiful story beyond,
it is absolutely,
beyond what it looks like it is.
Yeah, it's the art, but the story, as much as, the imagery is the thing, as you say, that kind of grabs your attention. When you break down that, when you get past the smoke and the mirrors, what you've got is a love story, and it is absolutely fantastic. So even Sweet Paprika from Mirko and Dalfor, as much as that's got lots of sex in it, it is about repression, it's about guilt, it's about how to form a relationship outside of the expectations of a parental bond. So there's, you're absolutely right. I agree with you, Isaac. It's, the sex might be the hook, but it's the stuff behind the scenes that actually keeps them
in there. I was trained as a journalist initially,
okay, cool.
And what we learned was you have about 1.5 to 2 seconds, maybe 3 on a good day, to get somebody's attention in today's world. If you miss that time, they're gone. They're not coming back. And the reality of it is, people don't like to consume things they don't already know. I think we as men are worse about it. When we get to a certain age, we're like, I only want things I know already. We kind of get stuck in our ways, so we're really bad about it. But if you're able to get past that, and you're able to grab their attention that fast, and whatever it is you use to be the attention grabber, maybe that is a sexy lady, or maybe it's just some absolutely outstanding artwork. People like Art German, Alan Quah can present. It will just knock you off your feet every time you look at it. Even Rake, or I've got more Art German behind me. The stuff they do, even if it's not sexy, just like, wow, let me see that. Or I'll quote one of my favorite manga of all time, being Berserk, which doesn't really push sexiness very hard in that series at all. But you just crack it open for a second, and every panel looks like it took the guy 2 months to do because it's so incredibly detailed. You're like, I have to know what's going on now.
Yeah.
So you can use things beyond that. I would say that, I don't know if that's right to say this or not, but using the sex to sell, it can be effective, sure, but it's the equivalent of when the ref turned his head, you went for a below the belt shot. It works, but it's not exactly the best way to go about it.
Yeah, and I think
I'm making a sexy pinup book.
Fair point. I think probably for a lot of people, that's maybe the knock on Zenescope. I mean, Zenescope, I have a soft spot for Zenescope. They're a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. But the covers look great.
Oh, yes.
And then you get into the book and you're like, not quite. But
I work and friends with a lot of Zenescope's artists. I can't comment on anything in that one. No, they would kill me.
I will say this. I mean, recently, I loved the Robin Hood last one Robin Hood one shot. I've
Those
just
are really fun.
reviewed. Reviewed the Van Helsing Curse of the Witch, which is over on our sister site, Comic Crusaders. Go check that out. So I've got a lot of time for Zenescope, and I think they deserve a space on the comic book rack.
No,
Right, enough about them.
I'll present the same argument I always present about this kind of stuff. If Zenescope isn't your bag, or
Buy it.
okay, for a second. If Zenescope's not your bag, or Marvel United's not your bag, it's simple. Just support more indie creators. It's that simple. Because with us, you never know what you're going to get. The story could really wow you, or something you've never seen before. And if you do that, you're putting food on our plates. You're not buying some CEO at Disney another golden toilet. You're helping us out, and you're making it where we can make more books for you.
Excellent. In that case, why don't we help out? Why don't we show the video from your Kickstarter? Let me just cue this up.
Oh, that was a masterful transition. I like that. That was smart.
Yeah. It's like I've done this before, isn't it? It's crazy. Right, let me get this fired up for you. There we go. Where is it?
Oh man, that's in pounds. I don't know what that means.
Well, I'll tell you. There you go. It means $24,481 of your 5,000 goal. There you go.
Yes.
So you are already well aboard. So
4 stretch goals everybody gets for free right now, including.
We'll have a look at the stretches in a second. Here is your video.
Got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need a fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Yeah, your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb.
Wow. Right. Oh, first off, where's the song from? Who's the song by?
The song is by a gentleman on YouTube named Neffix, Neffex.
Right.
He is, I think he's an independent musician. He's extremely good. I got his permission to use this song. I had to write him and ask him for permission.
Okay, cool.
That's where that one comes from. So that had nothing to do with the song. I just happened to know it.
I was like, wow, that song fits so well.
Got lucky.
What? I mean, the double spread where they're by the pool screams Marvel swimsuit, and it absolutely does. It's like I'm sure I've seen that picture somewhere. The other stuff, I mean, manga's obviously a huge inspiration for you. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Very much so. Manga and anime were kind of what, for me, it was when Toonami came out here in America, when they pushed, anime kind of came over with that. Mm-hmm. For me, coming from a very violent upbringing, that was like an escape for me. And then Outlaw Star came out, and I was able to just see a guy who was no more special than myself go on these amazing adventures with his friends and break free of essentially the chains that bind us to the situations we're wrapped into. And I just always wanted to be like that. And I was trying, for my entire life, I was trying to figure out what I could do with that. And anime was the inspiration behind that. But of course, I grew up with things like Batman the Animated Series and reading superhero comics from DC and Marvel. As I got older, Image has got some amazing books. Saga is unfair.
Everybody loves Saga. I must be the only person who's not reading it.
I'm at this point, I'm pretty sure Brian K. Vaughan is actually a robot somewhere that's been programmed to have the best possible writing imaginable. It's not fair what he does. But cite a lot of those kind of guys, and animated manga were definitely my biggest influence for me because that's kind of what I resonated with. And I appreciated that when you open up a manga, you don't know what's going to happen. Like you might I'll use Kame Ga Kill as a reference. Like if you like any character you like in that series, you start watch the first read the first couple chapters. Like, oh, I love this character, so great. I feel so sorry for you because like everyone die. They don't die. They die hard. I mean, it's horrible how they die.
Yeah. Bad. You have to have your poker face on.
Oh my god!
Really? Excellent. All right. Before we have a couple of more checks out of the pinups and check the Kickstarter. Time for one of our breaks for one of our other shows. Let's see, this show's recorded this weekend, so keep an eye open for this.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
That's right, the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. Next episode down the line is about retcons. Gone right or wrong? Who knows? Who knows? Watch and find out. You know, watch and find out. Right, okay. Back to Isaac and his book. Isaac, who is this fetching young lady? Let me bring her up.
Her name is Queen Basphira. We just call her QB for short. In the story of Succubusted, which is what I have here, that's a cover that Dan did with her on it.
Oh yeah, cool.
She is you can have a poker chip with her on it. It came from the same campaign. She is in that universe. I kind of took inspiration, or you could say stole, I guess, from Dante's writings of what hell is like, and I broke hell down into 7 circles, and so each circle corresponds to what was in the Divine Comedy. In the case of QB, since Succubusted, as implied by the name, it focuses heavily on the lust demons of second circle being sexy demons. She is essentially the queen of that circle, the queen of lust, and the most powerful succubus alive. But she's not evil. So in the universe of that story, being an angel or a demon does not make you inherently good or bad. Right. It's more so determines where you get your power from. In her case, as a demon of lust, they get their power from consensual attention and affection from humans. We don't do the other thing. I'm not okay with that. It's consensual. So if they sleep, which I mean, if that came up to you, I think any straight guy, and many people who are maybe otherwise would probably be fine with that. That's kind of her entire point. That's her entire point.
Just keep your wings out my face, please.
So she's from Succubusted. She appears in the Hot Springs book in a couple of places. She's a super fun character. I'm very excited to do more with her when you see her in Succubusted 2 and then beyond, which comes out in October of this year.
Perfect. Who's the artist for this piece, please?
One more time?
Who's the artist for this one?
Can
you remember
that one? That's not Flower. That is Flower. Arachnart did that one.
All right, okay, cool.
The gentleman I got off of DeviantArt. They specialize in a lot of sexy pinup kind of art. Yeah. So I was able to get them on this one.
Cool. Excellent. So I know the book has established artists as well as new artists. Yes. Do you like using the pinup book as a means to showcase new talent?
Absolutely. I think that obviously you want to have a couple of people with some notoriety to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I got guys like Ryan Kincaid, Hedwin Zaldivar, Lyrics, Dan Mendoza. I've worked with those kind of individuals. Cute Sexy Robots is another big name. But there's people that I want to work with there's people out there who are incredibly talented, who have amazing skill and work so hard to create beautiful visuals. But you never really hear of them or see them just because, well, it's a very crowded market. Yeah. There's a lot of people in that pool. And I like to find people within that pool that want to come work with me and show off what they can do. And I'll hunt some people down and say, hey, look, you can do this. What do you like? What do you want to do? And sometimes you find people who are incredible, who can offer you some amazing work, who really want to shine with what they do. People I work with, like Makushima, is one of my standard go-to gentlemen. He does a lot of my covers. Even my internal people like Mitsu Blinger, Nelson Moda, and Neela Nandita aren't people that you're going to see on the cover of a DC or Marvel book yet. But they're amazing, and their work deserves to be appreciated. So I try to get as many of them as I can. I think as an independent creator, I think this is a problem we have in the independent world, is we look at each other as competition all the time. I've learned through my life that everybody hates everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, what group you're with, or anything. Everyone hates everybody. And independents seem to look at each other as competition, and I don't believe in that. I think that it's us against Marvel and DC and Image. Like, we have to fight them as hard as we can. And the only way we're going to do that is if we work together to some capacity. So I try to work with people who are new and up and coming to give them an opportunity to show off what they can do and get more contracts for other creators and just get out there and show that there are amazing people, amazing artists.
So you said earlier that the dream's to get picked up by a publisher. I take it, therefore, if DC came on with a black label book, would you be interested? Would you be? Because I mean, loads of indie writers have made the move. You've got Stephanie Phillips, who did a ton of work for Dark Horse, who's now writing Harley. Ram V, who had great work with these Savage Shores on Vault Comics before jumping over and doing Catwoman and Swamp Thing and Justice League Dark. You know, so these are. I don't like the term of saying that these indie creators have made it, because in my head, how I believe that just producing a comic book means you've made it. You know,
A little bit. It's hard.
yeah. So exactly. So I mean, I don't think that, and this is just my personal perception. If people want to work on Batman and Spider-Man and Superman and all them, fine. If that's what you want to do, fine, do it. But if you want to work on something different, something fresh, be in control of your own destiny somewhat, then indie's the way to go, right?
There's that's kind of what happened to a couple of guys who are on Kickstarter now. They came from DC Image Action Labs, and they're like, well, they're too controlling. I don't like dealing with this BS. And they came to do independent books instead because they didn't want to be part of that. Yeah. I've been told by individuals who've worked with the companies with Marvel and DC what it's like working for them, which one has better benefits, which one treats you better, and all that. If the opportunity were given, I mean, I'd be stupid not to take it just because of the notoriety it would then give my name. Yeah. And I could then use that to help my people with, and my artists, my team. I could have really, if we do a Kickstarter and they got a guy who wrote a copy of Batman on there, I mean, that's going to be great for them. And that's, I think that's, as I've gotten older and done this more, it's become more my priority is taking care of my team, making sure they're doing well. Perfect. An old joke I once heard is an IRS guy goes to investigate this fisherman and says, I need to know about your employee. Oh, I have this employee over here. He's got free rent. He gets $1,000 a week. Well, who's your other employee? Oh, there's one guy who's mentally defunct. He gets $10 a week and occasionally sleeps with my wife. Oh, I want to talk to that guy. Cool, I'm him. I don't know what it's like when you run your own business. Like, yeah, you're not the one who's getting everything. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I want my people to shine and show what they really do. And I think through Kickstarter is a fantastic platform to do that on. Agreed. It's also a very difficult, ruthless, and merciless platform in every possible way.
Competition's huge. There's loads of books out there, and we do a show called Flipside Focus. And it's about indie books, and we always do like a Kickstarter segment. And I find it hard sometimes to find non-adult material on Kickstarter, if that makes sense. Yeah, there is a ton out there. So you know, I think if you've got a hook, you've got a different look, and you're getting stuff out there, then I think that's well done. And we're going to look at Kickstarter again in a second, just so we can see the totals. I just want to have a quick chat about this next picture, which I found absolutely charming. Is probably the British.
It's one of the most beautiful things we have.
I don't know. I don't know if it was the aesthetic of the background and how you've got the kind of the scroll-esque things going around the bottom here, and you know the kind of design around the main frame of the picture. It just seemed, I don't know, a lot more innocent in some ways than some of the
more classy.
Some of them less obvious.
That was done by Jason Hare. He is he's kind of one of those, like, I don't know if he's considered big time or not. He's amazing and everyone should hire him. His work is fantastic. He's very good at tasteful, classy kind of work like that. I've worked with him a couple of times now, and he's never once disappointed me or upset me. He always does amazing work. Jason did that, and I think that one was colored by, I want to say, Jean-François Badalou, which I'm probably pronouncing his name terribly, and I apologize if he's a French-Canadian gentleman, and I may be pronouncing that name wrong.
No, it's
you said that girl is from this series, the Cremisi series, the first one I ever did.
Excellent.
She was actually meant to, when I first wrote Cremisi, the first issue called for her to be kind of a side bimbo kind of character. And then the artist I worked with, Sayako Rush, who's since retired, she drew her and created, and I was like, okay, I can't make this character that. She's too good looking. She's too great. She looks like she's powerful. So I rewrote the entire first issue and second issue to make her a femme fatale who's incredibly confident and amazing. So much so people asked if we're going to see her again in the series, and I had to go in again and write her back into the book. So she's got to show up again. She's too amazing. She's too great.
Cool.
So that's she's in the book. She's also in some of the comic pages in the book as well.
Cool. Excellent. All right, so let's bring up your Kickstarter and get some more info out for people who can watch. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that now. All right. So as we said earlier, you're on $24,481 pledged against a goal of 5,000. You've still got, at the time of recording, 14 days to go. How's that make you feel to get that amount? And not only that, look at the amount of backers, 321, and you've still got 2 weeks to go. That's pretty impressive, surely.
It's kind of humbling. We were coming off of Select You Busted that had 600 plus.
Mm-hmm.
I credit that entirely to Dan Mendoza. But to go from making maybe 4K, 5 if I'm lucky, to suddenly doing this, it's been a very humbling experience. And the only thing I can say is that I'm just incredibly grateful to the backers and to the supporters of what we've done. And that every time I see a campaign go well, like it is right now, what it does for me is it motivates me to push myself to the next level, to create better, bigger books, more interesting books, better art, everything. Because I believe that if you put that much faith in me, where you guys are giving us 24 grand to make this, I owe you the absolute best as possible of me, and my team feels the same way. So everything I see in this, it just tells me, okay, we got 24 this time. That's great. Those X amount of people deserve the best. Give them the best, goddammit, and now do better next time, so that you can make sure that they're still getting the best you can give them, and show them that what they gave you is actually doing what you said it will, and that's making things better for the company and making the art better and allowing me to push out more books. So to me, it's just a big motivator to continue making everybody happy.
Excellent. Okay, so here's your pledges for $5. You get is that the digital basic? Yeah, one digital copy of Foxxy.
It's just the A cover with no stretch goals, no add-ons. Just boom, you get the book. Here you go. It's a digital copy of the book with the basic cover.
Cool, excellent. Are you a digital fan, or are you an actual hold it in your hands kind of fan?
Definitely more of a physical kind of person. I'd rather hold the book in my hand myself. So if I can afford or have the time to get a actual physical copy, I want the physical copy. Yeah, every time.
Do you find that that's hard to do because you ship anywhere in the world? So is that must obviously eat into, or is that factored into the startup that you ask for?
Oh, that's factored in. We charge, the shipping prices that I charge are based on foreign or domestic, so it's all lumped in together.
Okay.
And admittedly, there are times on foreign shipping where I'll lose a couple bucks because, like, somehow I should have a lot of backers in Germany, which is fantastic. But shipping to Germany can be a little expensive. Places like Norway and the Netherlands can be rather expensive.
Yep.
Right now, Australia is usually a little pricey. Right now, I came and shipped to Australia because we ship through the United States Postal Service, USPS, which is the most affordable shipping service. And they won't ship to Australia right now because of COVID complications. So we tell everybody, if you're in Australia, like, you have two options. You can wait, and I will hold on to your package and get it to you. I guarantee you're going to get it. Or you can contact me, and I can work with you for more expensive shipping solutions. Just to compare this, I had to ship a package once to Indonesia to an artist for their comp copies. That package through USPS was $40. That same package through UPS was $200.
Whoa.
That's the price difference we're talking about. So overseas shipping isn't necessarily difficult. It all gets packed the same way. I use Gemini mailers with a hard cardboard slab to support it. There's bagged and boarded. We want to make sure everything gets there in the best condition possible. Books are hand inspected by me. But overseas shipping, the problem right now is it's taking forever.
Yeah.
It took like 3 months for me to get stuff to one of my artists in Greenland, because it just that's how long the shipping takes now.
It's crazy. So $20, you get 2 covers. You get a nice and you get a naughty. There you go.
Yes. The digital deluxe also gives them all the digital stretch goals as well, so you get more bang for your buck.
Cool.
5 of those already.
So one physical copy of Foxxy Vacations, a cover of the naughty variant. Another. There we go.
Yep. I would point out that any book that you get from Isaac Fox, National Ticket, when it goes to Kickstarter, the book's done. It's already done. Everything, the covers are done. The book is done. It's put together. It's ready. Everything is already ready to go. You're guaranteed to get this. I just need money to send it to the printer. That's about it.
Yeah.
because that's unfortunately like the biggest expense is printing it.
Yeah, so excellent.
Per Art, who was mentioned right there, she's another one. She's actually a hentai artist, is what she normally does.
Okay.
What she did for us is not, but that's kind of her specialty. So if you like, so the ones that she's done are a little more on the lewd side. We haven't gone deep into that, but definitely a little more so. So if you want some of that, it's mixed in.
A little bit suggestive then, yeah.
Right, it's a little bit more mixed in. We try to keep a little balance of everything together. We do have a series there called the Booty series, and what that is it's 3 girls from 3 different series where it's just their butts, all arms on each other, leaning over. When you put them together, it makes one solid image. So if you get all 3 of those, they look really good together.
That was in the visual trailer, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah. There you go. See, I paid attention. Let's see what else you got.
More of the Booty series from characters from Maylin's Pure Intent, which that book is also available in this campaign. That was one of my that was my first ever full color book.
What impresses me about your whole project is that you've got backers at every level, and not just 1 or 2. And I mean that's pretty impressive, isn't it? When you think about it.
I try very hard to make something for everybody. A colleague of mine tried to hire me to put together a Kickstarter page for him. I'm very honored by that, but the problem is it takes me about a month and a half to put together the page itself. Because I put together the page and the media packs and all that together, and it's just me doing all of that. So it takes literally a month and a half of every day just doing this.
Yeah. The let's see if we can.
Kickstarter, if you're listening, you really need to create an ability when you create a reward tier to also make it an add-on and copy it over. I have to manually do that 20 times. It's a little absurd, Kickstarter. Come on, you guys can do this. It'll be easy.
There you go. There's your booty session. Just there. Sorry for that. I should warn people, shouldn't I? Yeah, bums. What can I say?
It's got her. And
hold on, give me 2 seconds, and what I'll do is I'll just bring that back up. Show us again for that, please, Isaac.
Yeah, I can probably get a better picture of inside the book. She's on the booty cover, beautiful Chinese lady. Her, one of our Foxxy characters, and then this. Her. She's also, that's upside down. And she's one of our main characters from the Slightly Busted series.
Very good. Very good. Let's see, what else can I show?
I can say the add-ons this time are super awesome. We learned a lot from the add-ons and taking feedback from backers. Documakuras, the body pillows, were in high demand for a while now. It's okay, let's do it. So we did one last time of Benny, the thicker bunny girl. That did pretty well. And this time we did one of Azumi Fox, who I know she handles my public relations stuff now, but she's my personal mascot. We have the one of her, and that has been very popular. People really like her. So we're going to be doing more body pillows as things go forward. Cool. I got permission from Lyrics to put one of her covers on a body pillow of one of my girls. Okay. I'm not going to say what yet. That will be later this year when Cremisi #2's Rebirth comes out, which is the next book we'll be doing this year. You guys will see it on that. The body pillow I do have comes with this lovely lady on it. Oh, I'm trying to think of things. One of the stretch goal items. This is a magnet. Everybody gets these for free. So if you back the book, you get like 5 free things.
Wow, cool, excellent. So they go on. Sorry.
The next one next stretch goal we have lined up that I hope we really get. It's a metal trading card like this, but it is of Azumi. It's not a naughty one. It's very tasteful, very classy because it's done by Mitsuhiro Arita, who is the man who is the legend behind the Pokemon cards. The Charizard that everybody wanted, that's the big fancy one that's most famous. He's the guy who did all of that. So I have that card from him. And if we get to that, I think it's 30,000, everybody gets that thing for free. A metal card by this legendary card artist.
That's impressive. Excellent.
I got lucky that someone I know knows him. Very lucky.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Everything is who you know. Who do you know?
Right. So on the bottom of the screen there, you have got a couple of places to check it out. You've got foxycomics.com. Remember to spell it right. It's got 2 X's.
Not 3 because we aren't that kind of website.
Yeah. And then you've got the Kickstarter there as well. So you can have a look at that. Okay, cool. I'll leave that there for a couple of minutes. And of course, as we showed you earlier, you've also got the social medias there. You've got
Yes.
Instagram, you've got Twitter, and of course, you've got the Book of Face, just to round off the trio of social media. So there
Such
you
a
go.
better name for that website. Book of Face sounds so much better than Facebook.
Yeah. So by all means, pause the screen while you write them down or whatever. Just don't do it when I'm looking stupid. That would be great.
And if you guys don't believe me, go through comments of my past campaigns. Look at that. It's all people saying things arrived in great condition. We don't promise 9.8, but everything I put out is damn near it. I do offer, if you want to contact us, we can get you books that are more grade worthy. I did have a gentleman who did this recently, and one of them was a 9.9, which I'm still in awe that my studio produced a 9.9. So if you want that, you can talk to us. We can work with that for you. That requires a little extra fee because I'm going to pack that a lot more specially and inspect it more. And it gets a healthy coating of bubble wrap and protective materials to make sure that nothing could happen to it outside of, maybe if it goes through a hurricane. But at that point, I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah. Let's not tempt fate.
It's not. Yeah, enough for one lifetime.
All right, Isaac. Thank you so much for spending the time and showing us the art, the books. Thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Kickstarter's going really, really well. The fact you've already look at that. You've hit the
popular add-on items are these little mini cover books because when you open them up, I have to censor this myself. It's the naughty covers, or the versions. So
cool.
doing that. Always our most popular add-on, and these things are awesome.
Very good.
Sorry.
That's all right. Go for it. So don't forget to check out the Kickstarter for all the details, what you can pledge, what you get from that pledge. It's already hit its target, so you are guaranteed the book in some shape or form, depending whether you want it digitally or whether you want it the hard copy. And there you go. Isaac, thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
I would like to say that I'm listed as a Kickstarter favorite creator because I've done this is my 7th campaign. That my record is 100% for delivering everything I promise, and it will always be that way because what I do for you guys. So thank you for having me on. And everyone who supported my books, thank you. I'm going to continue making them for you. So thank you very much.
Cool. Don't forget to check out the UCPM for all your favorite shows, including the advertised Old Timers Comic Book Show, and of course, oh, look at the cat. What's the cat called?
The internet loves cats. Here.
How'd you get the cat? How much do you have to pledge for the cat?
I don't know. It might be free at this point.
Yeah, so UCPN for all your favorite shows, Old Timers. You've got the Definitive Crusade, of course, No Prize Podcast. I have been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and as always, adios.
Thank you.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.